In the upcoming weeks, we will be thinking about bread for the traveler. That as we think about life and faith, that so much of it is the experience of a journey. That we might be moving towards a destination, but what is significant is the experience that we have along the way, full of both highs and lows, things that we celebrate and things that challenge us. That we need wisdom for our decisions. We seek guidance along the way. We find ourselves needing to renew our strength and to stir our spirits as we continue to move forward. So we are looking for bread as travelers on this journey that we share together. Which reminds me of that wonderful hymn, "We are travelers on a journey," where the first stanza says, "We are travelers on a journey, fellow pilgrims on the road. We are here to help each other walk the mile and bear the load. I will hold the Christ light for you. In the nighttime of your fear, I will hold my hand out to you. Speak the peace you long to hear." That it doesn't speak of a destination in this hymn. It speaks of the journey and all of the experiences that we can have along the way. And one place that we find bread for the traveler is in the book of Psalms. Because throughout the book of Psalms, we find every experience and every emotion that we might have. And it gives us direction and provides wisdom for the journey along the way. It seems that down deep inside of us, we are wired for a journey, always looking for adventure. Perhaps that's why so many of the names of cars resonate with that idea of a journey. There is the Explorer and Expedition, the Discovery and the Caravan, the Land Cruiser and the Cargo, the Passenger and the Navigator, the Rover and the Voyager, and even the Journey. But no matter where we are going or how we are getting there, there is always the possibility of a flat tire. That we face many things on the journey, but we face those things together and with God. Which reminds us of the Hebrew people and the journey that they set out on when they were freed from the oppression of Egypt and then wandering through the wilderness for so many years. And as they entered the desert, they realized they didn't have anything to eat. So each morning there was manna on the ground, enough bread for that day, enough to give them strength, enough to sustain them. So where do we find bread for the traveler together? That we find in the book of Psalms every emotion and experience known to humanity. It is the experience of the people of God throughout history. And we find every emotion, love and loneliness, anger and anguish, joy and jealousy, hope and humility, celebration and community. That the Psalms are for us bread for the traveler. And one of those Psalms, which provides us with reassurance throughout all those various experiences, is Psalm 46. That we find reassurance in the face of doubt, or when we are afraid, when we face uncertainty, or when we are disappointed. The psalmist writes, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth should change, though the mountains shake in the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble with its tumult. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of the city, it shall not be moved. God will help it when the morning dawns. The nations are in an uproar. The kingdoms totter. He utters his voice. The earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Come, behold the works of the Lord. See what desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I am exalted among the nations. I am exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. That when everything feels like it's coming apart, the psalmist reassures us, God is still God, a help in trouble. Even if the earth trembles, if nations are in an uproar, if kingdoms falter, we can be still and know that God is God. There are times in life where we are reminded life is fragile. Mountains and nations can shake. And when we read the words of the psalm, we have to remember that first, the Psalms are someone else's experience, but second, they can also become our prayer. They're helpful to us because they remind us others have been where we are before, that God has been where we are before. They remind us that God's grace is enough for the challenges of today. But they're not just someone else's experience, they can also become our prayer. Because even though someone else has experienced it, it might be our first time. The fear and anxiety is fresh for us. So we can also use the words of the psalm as our prayer to God. And throughout Psalm 46, it continues to repeat, God is our refuge. It is repetitive because it wants to provide reassurance. Those things that we can say over and over again to comfort our hearts and to renew our strength. That we can repeat our prayers to remind ourselves that God is our refuge. In fact, we might even borrow a line from Psalm 46, saying to ourselves again and again, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Even if we are changing our major in college for the 4th time and we have no idea what we want to do with our lives. Even if someone has broken our hearts and we're not sure there's another opportunity out there for us. Even when we did not get the job or we lost our job. Even when our dreams feel like they are starting to fall apart. Even when our loved one is hurting and we feel helpless about what to do. We can remember the experience of the psalmist. We can find God's grace as it is our experience too. We can say again and again in our prayers, "Be still and know that I am God," helping us see that God is there with us. For we are travelers on a journey, finding hope and strength in one another and in the presence of God, reminding us that we are never alone. Amen.